Why is an Iskul Bukol alumnus, who is now taking on the entire Senate, even sharper than a lawyer? In the world of Iskul Bukol, One Ball University is a place of mischief, laughter, and endless antics from Tito Escalera, Vic Ondiasis, and Joey. But now in 2025, it seems like Tito Escalera is back on the scene, but this time not as a comedian. Now, Sen. Vicente Sotto, former comedian, who became Senate President and is now the Senate Minority Leader, once again proved that you don't have to be a lawyer to take a stand in the middle of a constitutional crisis. On the Senate floor this August 6th, Sen. Sotto was at the center of a heated debate regarding the impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte. While some of his colleagues, like Sen. Rodante Macalita, were quick to dismiss the case, Sotto stood his ground. Why are we in such a hurry? This is where one of the finest displays of statesmanship in the history of the modern Senate began. In his speech, Sotto firmly stated the decision of the Supreme Court, even if immediately executory, is not yet final and appealable. Many are asking, if there is an appeal, why are we rushing to dismiss this here? He clarified that there is a pending motion for reconsideration in the Supreme Court, and the Senate's dismissal of the case seems like simply bowing down to a decision that is not yet final. The fight is not yet over, but it appears that the majority have already been forced to give up. And when it was said that the complaint was no longer with the Senate because it had been returned to the House, Sotto stood up again and expressed his concern. I thought we didn't have jurisdiction. Why did we archive it? That's not a question from a litigator. That's a question from a true legislator who understands the process, respects the Constitution, and stands for the truth. Marcolita called the impeachment complaint dead, but Sotto's response was deeper. I know it's true. Once it's archived, it's dead. My God, have mercy on your decision. At that point, the tide began to turn. The former Tito Escalera, who used to outsmart professors at One Ball University, now it seems it's his turn. He's the one teaching his fellow senators now. In the face of a legal issue, he seemed to have a clearer understanding of the principle of checks and balances than some of the Senate's lawyers. Another strong point he raised was the Supreme Court's misunderstanding of what is called adjournment sine die. In the court's decision, February 5th was considered the last day of the House session. But according to Sotto, this is a big deal. There is a world of difference between adjournment and adjournment sine die. Sine die adjournment happened on June 13th. Because of this, he also said that the basis for the court's decision to dismiss the first 3 impeachment complaints was wrong. If the date is wrong, the conclusion is wrong. If you want something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. He added that if this is the Supreme Court's logic, then the impeachments of former President Estrada and Chief Justice Corona should also be declared invalid. In the end, Sara lost the vote, 19-5. But numbers aren't the measure of success. His success lies in his clear stand amid the darkness. Tito proved that statesmanship isn't earned through a diploma. It's the result of experience, principle, and strength of character. If the Senate is supposed to be the nation's moral compass, tonight, Sotto was the true north. Friend, if you learned something from this video, if you felt there's still hope in leaders who are willing to say wait a minute instead of just saying yes, like, share, and leave a comment. And if you're new to this channel, welcome. Thank you for your support. Go ahead and subscribe to AngKampanero, the voice of truth, the sound of history, and together let's stand up for the truth. Let's keep the bell ringing for truth, justice, and freedom.